What is the best way to get my children to listen, especially when they don't want to? Every day for the past 2 years, it was a struggle to encourage them to keep their toys after play or wash their hands before dinner. You know, I never had a clue how to get my kids to cooperate until recently. What about you? Do you raise your voice? Do you spend all your energy trying to be nice and polite only to hear your child says no? Do you enter into a power struggle like an emotional tug of war, and do you finally resort to some kind of threat or an ultimatum and eventually feel bad about it? In this video, I want to share with you a simple technique that you can use to get your kids to listen and comply without getting into a meltdown. This technique will save you lots of time and lots of energy, and I'm confident that by the end of this video, you should be able to deploy this technique right away and see positive results for yourself. Look, I'm a parent just like you with similar challenges, and I have to game up because I have so little time and so much more to get done. I want to be effective and first learned this technique from a man named Robin Booth, who is a school principal and a parenting expert. I've been using this technique now for over a month, and boy, it's surprisingly effective. Does it work all the time? No. Does it work most of the time? Yes. Should you therefore learn and use it? Definitely. In fact, today I got my 2-year-old and my 3-year-old to make the bed together with me. The reason I believe why most parents struggle to get their children to cooperate is because we do not understand power dynamics. Children, just like any individual, desires a sense of control and autonomy. What does autonomy mean, you might ask? Autonomy is about a person's ability to act on his or her own values and interests. When we need our children to do something, most of the time we simply just tell them what to do. Hey Charlie, keep the toys now. Hey Charlie, it's time to eat now. And did you realize that little Charlie doesn't like to be told what to do? Little Charlie wants to do things his own way, whenever he wants, wherever he wants. Unfortunately, the way we communicate and expect instant obedience do not sit well with our children. In fact, it does not sit well even for adults because it can come across as authoritarian. However, by understanding power dynamics and changing the way we speak and the words we use, we can invite cooperation from our children. And that diffuses the power struggle, and it helps them to operate within the boundaries that we set for them while they remain feeling respected and loved. Are you ready to learn this technique? Let's get started. The core of this technique has two parts. Firstly, we set the boundary, and secondly, we give two empowering choices within the boundary. Here are some examples of what a boundary looks like. Hey Charlie, it's dinner time now. Hey Charlie, we are leaving the house in 10 minutes. Hey Charlie, we have to wash our hands before eating. Hey Charlie, it's time to turn off the iPad. Hey Charlie, it's sleeping time now and we have to brush our teeth. Notice that in the boundary, we are setting an expectation of what we wish to happen. We are communicating to our children what we want them to do. It is therefore important to ensure that the boundary is mostly objective and it doesn't include the word like I. For instance, hey Charlie, I want you to sit at the table. Hey Charlie, I want you to wash your hands. Hey Charlie, I want you to turn off your iPad. Hey Charlie, I want you to brush your teeth now. Notice that with the I, it starts to feel a lot more personal now, isn't it? And this potentially increases resistance because children start to think, why should I listen to you? I want to do things my way because I'm an individual who wants autonomy. So try to be as objective as you can. For instance, hey Charlie, it's 6:30 a.m. now and we have to wash up for school. Now, let's talk about empowering choices and then I'll show you the full examples later. An empowering choice is a choice that we offer to our children that is non-threatening. It is a choice that is edifying and helps to facilitate compliance within the boundary that we set for them. And we offer them too. Here are the examples. Hey Charlie, it's dinner time now. This is the boundary. And now for the two empowering choices, I could say, would you like to wash your hands yourself or do you prefer for me to help you? Another example, hey Charlie, we are leaving the house in 10 minutes and we need to start to clean up the toys. This is the boundary. And for the two empowering choices, I could say, do you want to start packing the cars first or the dinosaurs? A third example, hey Charlie, it's time to get dressed now. This is the boundary. And for the two empowering choices, I could say, would you prefer to wear the red pants or the blue shorts today? And here is why this is a clever skill and works in nearly all situations. When a child is offered a choice, he or she experiences a sense of control. This means that he or she is given an opportunity to make a decision that directly impacts the quality of his or her life. Having this sense of control is a liberating feeling as opposed to being told what to do, and I'm sure you as an adult can certainly relate. Imagine being at work and your boss comes to you and say, "Hey, could you help me with this task? I need this done by the end of the day. Are you able to cope on your own, or should I get another colleague to help you?" Now, compare this with, "Hey, I need you to do this, and I need it done by the end of the day." Which sounds better? Now, let's get back. When a child is given an empowering choice, he gets to assert his or her own will on the situation. Therefore, he or she naturally feels empowered and spends more time and energy on deciding which choices to make, as opposed to fighting the parent, which is you, of course. In other words, by changing the way we speak, our children spend more time and energy on deciding what to choose instead of fighting us about the boundary. You see, when we tell our children what to do and we demand instant obedience, they naturally feel backed into a corner. Sometimes they could be in the middle of an activity and don't wish to be disrupted. When we offer them wise choices, it helps them to also transit from one activity to another with ease. From our perspective as parents, being aggressive and raising our voice could seem like an effective solution. Although the child may comply and it seems like we got what we want, the child is actually disempowered, felt like he or she had lost face, or simply had no choice. The child learns that aggression subconsciously and may repeat the behavior in future to get what he or she wants. However, if we give them the power to decide on something, it helps to retain their pride by still doing what they want to do because they chose the choices anyway, within the boundaries that we set. I want to emphasize that we are not giving choices to whether the boundary stays or goes. Rather, we are granting the flexibility on how the child wishes to operate within the boundary we are setting. One thing that you have to be very mindful of is that the choices have to be empowering choices. To help drive this point, I'm going to show you what these empowering choices look like. "Hey Charlie, it's time to pack your toys. Either you pack your toys now or I'll take them away for a week. You decide." "Hey Charlie, it's lunchtime now. Either you wash your hands now or you don't get to eat for the rest of the day. You decide." "Hey Charlie, it's time to leave the house. Wear your shoes now or we will all leave without you." "Hey Charlie, can you share your toys with your brother? If not, I will confiscate it and both of you will not get to play." As you can tell, all the choices offered are disempowering and are more of an attack rather than inviting cooperation. Here are some positive examples to solidify your understanding. "Hey Charlie, we have to leave the playground soon. Would you like to play with the slide one final time or are you ready to go now?" "Hey Charlie, it's dinner time and we all sit on the chairs to eat. Would you like to sit next to me or perhaps next to Grandma?" "Hey Charlie, you have to be back home by 8 p.m. Would you prefer me to fetch you or do you want to come back by yourself?" Now, offering two choices works for most situations. However, you may ask, what happens if my child chooses neither? In this case, we have to offer the third choice, which is to allow greater flexibility within the boundary. Here are some examples. "Hey Charlie, it's time to pack your toys. Would you like to start packing the cars first or the dinosaurs?" Charlie says no. I will then repeat. "Hey Charlie, it's time to pack your toys. Would you like to start packing the cars first or the dinosaurs? Or perhaps there's another toy that you wish to start keeping first." Another example. "Hey Charlie, it's dinner time now. Would you like to wash your hands yourself or do you prefer for me to help you?" Charlie says no. I will then repeat. "Hey Charlie, it's dinner time now. Would you like to wash your hands yourself or do you prefer for me to help you? Or perhaps get mommy to use the new soap that we just bought today?" To conclude, giving empowering choices, our children will experience that we are not just thinking about ourselves and we are considerate of how to make this work for them. We are inviting teamwork and cooperation instead of just slamming our authority on them. By doing so, we avoid resentment and create collaboration without letting go of those boundaries that are important to us. Now, my assignment to you is to practice whatever you have learned so far. Apply it immediately and offer wise choices according to your situation. Remember, those choices have to be empowering choices and should be respectful. I'm confident that by doing it mindfully, you will see amazing changes in levels of cooperation with your children. Lastly, I would love to hear your amazing stories in the comment section below. Good luck and I'll see you in the next video.